Hello. I was suggested that I share some of the tools that I've been working on, and hopefully, when they're done, they look a little bit less scary than this. So, what I've been working on is a project dependency graph where information is automatically recorded to database objects, which in this case are human readable objects from 3D software, in this case, Blender, so that I can track how different files interact with each other, and along with anything like due dates, related information, links to reference files, etc. So it's a centralized database for every 3D file that I use within a specific project, all tailored towards that project. So, what you saw just then was one of the entries within the database. In this case, I'm using Markdown formatting just so I can display everything. That is the actual database object, I should say. It's just a Markdown file. Um, and here we can see a representation of the Markdown file that you just saw, the database object up here, along with information retrieved from it. And if I evaluate, based on different evaluation rules, we can change the color of these. The evaluation rules I'm still working out a little bit, but in this case, because the field of sticker or the property of sticker is equal to lucite / activity, then it's going to show up as blue. Um, all of these actually get run through in sequence, and some of them pass or not pass when they are applicable. Um, so yeah, there's some stuff there. But like for instance, due date, if I was properly evaluating it, would be colored based on whether or not the due date is past, present, or future, based on the gradation between these three different colors and this 30 here. Otherwise, if color is not being affected, it simply gets drawn onto the object itself. Um, so yeah, we can see that these different objects connect to one another, and that's all related to information and how that information is recorded. So I can have different filters. These filters can be recorded in different ways depending on relevant factors, such as whether or not it's an asset, it's linked, it's local, it's a library override, or it is indirectly brought into the file. So if it's been referenced in, that's an indirect object. And so perhaps it shouldn't be recorded in some cases. Um, just so you don't get like database spaghetti where things are connecting to everything downstream. So it's got that filtering in place. Additionally, while it's not implemented in this version, I do have a frame-based organization system for the nodes. So frames are based off of what different type and how objects are connected and weighting and all that sort of stuff. But that's the current version, and then, or sorry, that's a previous version. The current version, I've stripped down some things. Some things are a bit cleaner. All the settings have been moved to property or preferences, excuse me, for longer term storage, and I've also added connections to Perforce. So you can log into Perforce. It's going to generate all the entries for your workspace and streams, and then it's going to store what I call substitution keys, which rebase unbased file paths. So if a string or a file path is absolute to one of your drives, then it is a file path that is based in reality. However, they can be debased by Perforce in that that file path is relative on each computer that it's viewed on. So substitution keys allow for a common working space in between multiple computers, if you're using Perforce in this case. But yeah, so I have a couple of other things. So we can filter out whether or not child digital asset management objects are created, so database objects. Children can automatically be created when an object is marked as like an asset. So if you've got multiple characters within one file, each one of them is marked as an asset. Different database files can be implemented, one for each of them. Or if there are, things like props and stuff like that that require attention to detail, should be in a database, but aren't to the level of simply background environmental object. That would be in an asset library. So we can filter by a ton of different information and the like. And then we have our dependency graph. Our dependency graph information is everything that builds up the graph that you see over here. I have to fix a small bug that's currently not allowing it to show, but yeah, them's the breaks. Then we have populate and display, which is how different database objects are displayed within the user interface itself. So for instance, if the database object was active, I could display a drop-down menu that allowed you to change its state of being. And that drop-down menu is actually based on what the user provides as well. And whenever you click and change that, it changes it within the database file. And then we have our project settings, of course. Now, the one little tool that I was really excited about that made me kind of start recording was I finally got this little generic importer-exporter working for all Blender properties. Well, with an asterisk. I'm still working on the all part. But we have our, export profile, import profile. I've already made a couple, but so I'm going to export what we currently have to that profile. I'm just going to go through, change some things, do whatever. Maybe add another one, add some random text to these guys. I'm going to import, and then of course, that was the wrong one. Excuse me. That was 4 instead of 4.1. 4.1, here we go. So all of our project settings have reverted, and this includes all children's settings. But what's interesting about this is that it's generic. It's not associated with the structure that I've created. I haven't manually typed out, store this information in this way, store this information in that way. I'm going through and I'm scraping information about every single property, and I'm recording a tuple. Well, it should be a tuple. I guess I made a list. Whoopsie. For each one of the properties. And so you can see that we have within this outline 4, we have our first project, ASDF. We have its name. It has been recorded correctly. Its name being its key or the property namespace under the object of the database or the project data object. We can see that it's been recorded. It's of type string and its value. This goes on, and we can see BPY prop collection ID prop, which is a type of collection that does not have an RNA property associated, and I believe these are almost exclusively defined by the user, with the exception of some mesh data, I think. But it's been recorded, it's true, and then we have all of our information underneath it. This means, though, that I can record any information about pretty much any object and apply it elsewhere. With the exception, of course, currently, because I have to write an exception to it, mesh data and data that of course cannot be written to. So those are two things that I'm kind of exploring a little bit more, and I'm not touching RNA properties or the base structural classes just yet. So yeah, that was a bit of rambling. That's what I've been working on. We'll see if I upload this or not. I don't know. But